On February the 16th, 1977, Archbishop Janani loum was summoned to a meeting in the grounds of a hotel in the capital, Kampala. In front of a large crowd, including several thousand soldiers, he was accused of plotting a coup. It quickly became clear this was to be a show trial, organised by Amin himself. The government said Archbishop loum was killed on his way to interrogation, when one of the other prisoners in the car he was travelling in grappled with the driver, causing a crash. But instead of releasing the body to his widow, the government now flew it to the Archbishop's home village in a remote part of northern Uganda. Soldiers delivered the coffin to relatives there, but prevented them from examining the remains.
We want to find out the truth, because we wanted to prove if really he died in a motor accident.
Magan Adile is the nephew of Janani loum. He decided to wait with others in the village until the soldiers left the coffin unguarded.
Now, the dead body spent one night in the church. That very night, at 10 p.m., we went and opened the coffin. We were 8 in number. Now, what we found in the coffin there, it was the true dead body of loum. We found a bullet wound in the neck, which proved that he was shot through the mouth. That is the nature how he was killed, because we could see where the bullet passed out, and the private parts also was bandaged.
You saw bandages on his private parts?
Yes, bandage. It was bandaged, the private part or the testicle.
So from that you concluded that there'd been some injury to him there?
Yes.
Archbishop loum's apparent murder by Idi Amin's government soon made international news.
By our British associates from ITN.
Idi Amin again flatly denied those charges, that he was personally responsible for the death of the 3 men. In this footage shot yesterday in Uganda, Amin used a conference of African nations to insist he was not guilty. He said he wasn't even there.
I heard from BBC that I am the one who was shooting the bishop and the minister. It is completely not. I was here in the Nile mansion. I never go outside.
To prove his point, he allowed a group of reporters to enter the country to show them where the accident was supposed to have happened.
How it turned over, and then you see the back of the car was that way. When I came up, this one I did see was the back.
He even had a pamphlet printed showing pictures of the wrecked automobile.
And Archbishop was not, as reported from Tanzania or Zambia, that he was killed or shot by me. It is nonsense, this completely, because I was here in the Nile mansion with the Vice President, Chief of Staff. We were here, then we got information that Moses was driving Archbishop with the 2 ministers. There are 4 in the car with him, and then they had the accident. We all were shocked.
Well, I was with them, 4 of us, and I don't know who removed me out from the car.
You were unconscious?
I was unconscious, and I don't know who removed me actually from the car and take me down to the military hospital.
Later at a news conference, he repeated charges that he was the victim of a conspiracy to invade Uganda and overthrow his government. And it was no surprise who he named as the chief conspirators.
Even they went as far as saying that even they were planning for my assassination by British, American, and Israelis. This is not from me, but from those people who have been arrested, and show where arms, ammunition, grenades are from.
Those weapons, he said, were Chinese, originally destined for the Rhodesian and South African liberation movements, but he insisted the Chinese themselves were not involved. The main enemy, according to Amin, is neighboring Tanzania, which he said has already massed troops on the border for an invasion. The government of Tanzania calls it balderdash. Their chief spokesman had this comment about President Amin and his accusations. He said, "These are more of those dreams that Amin is always having. Amin also dreams that he speaks to God. We have no love for that regime," the Tanzanian spokesman added, "but we do not intend to invade them." This is Luciafi, ABC News, New York.
The murder of the Most Reverend Janani loum, Archbishop of the Anglican province of Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Boga Zaire, by the Uganda government security forces is a crime that has caused shock and horror throughout the church around the world. The report that his death was caused by a motor accident is as preposterous as the allegations leveled against him by President Amin. Archbishop Loum is only one more victim of the wave of atrocities in Uganda, against which we in the All Africa Conference of Churches have consistently protested for a number of years. We are alarmed and terrified by indications that the murder of the Archbishop may be part of a campaign of terror unleashed against Christians in Uganda. Once again, we call upon President Amin to put an immediate end to these indiscriminate killings in Uganda. We reiterate the request that I sent to him yesterday, that a delegation from the All Africa Conference of Churches be allowed to visit Uganda to examine the evidence which lay behind the allegations brought against the Archbishop, and particularly now to inquire into the circumstances surrounding his death.
In a case like the assassination of the Anglican bishop under the guise of an automobile accident in Uganda, that kind of conduct by a government, as well as the conduct of the reported 18th person jumping out of the window in South Africa, that the world knows better than that. And that kind of action, I think, has to be condemned in the court of world opinion, in public opinion. And those malicious and sadistic elements in every society need to be confronted. And people of goodwill within every society, including South Africa and Uganda, need to be encouraged.
And there was a moment of grimness on the now familiar subject of human rights. The president said he wasn't singling out the Soviet Union for criticism. And to prove it, he brought up in blistering terms the case of Uganda.
In Uganda, the actions there have disgusted the entire civilized world. The British are now considering asking the United Nations to go into Uganda to assess the horrible murders that apparently are taking place in that country, the persecution of those who have aroused the ire of Mr. Amin.
Sam Donaldson, ABC News, Washington.
As far as Uganda was concerned, it says that there is accumulated evidence of sustained disregard for the sanctity of life and of massive violation of basic human rights in Uganda, and it is the overwhelming view of Commonwealth leaders that these excesses are so gross as to warrant the concern of the world and to evoke condemnation by the heads of government in strong and unequivocal terms. I quote from the communique as I say that. But our differences are not with the people of Uganda, not at all. And so mindful that the people of Uganda are within the fraternity of Commonwealth Fellowship, the heads of government look to the day when the people of Uganda will once more fully enjoy their basic human rights, which are now being so cruelly denied. That was the overwhelming expression by the heads of government, and although I do not comment on individual expressions of opinion, I'm bound to say that I do not recall any occasion in which condemnation has been so strongly expressed by so many people, those who are perhaps closest to it, as well as those who are further away and can take a more, if you like, a different view about it. And this was something that the Commonwealth felt they had to stand for in terms of human rights and to express their opinion.
New charges at the American government.
whatever happened in Uganda, it is a car accident, like thousands of people dying in New York, Washington, and all part of United States of America every day. And even criminal highway robbery happening in the United States every day. Do you think that it is necessary to send a independent commission of inquiry to America to investigate your murder of your head of state, including President Kennedy, and CIA themselves, after being confused by Dr. Kissinger, they quarreled themselves, they dismissed themselves. Some of them now became against the CIA, revealing all the secrecy of the CIA, what they were doing in the world, murdering strong leaders like me, who are in the list to be murdered.
In 1979, Idi Amin was forced into exile as Tanzanian troops and Ugandan rebels closed in on the capital. There's no agreed figure of how many were killed under his rule. Estimates range from 80,000 up to as many as 500,000. In July 1988, a statue of Janani Loum was unveiled at Westminster Abbey in London as one of the 10 martyrs of the 20th century. His death is commemorated every year on the 17th of February by churches of the Anglican Communion.
He's remembered as a man who did not fear, a man who stood for what is right, a man who united people. So this is how my father is remembered.
Julie Loum Adrico was speaking about her father, Archbishop Janani Loum, to me, Rob Walker, for Witness.